Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. In this one today, we're going to be doing the top 5 best perks in COD Zombies. Now, for these rankings, we are going to include all the perks from World at War to Black Ops Cold War. When we talk about the Cold War perks, we will use tier 5 as our basis for what those perks are capable of. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Coming into our number 5 spot, we have PhD from Black Ops Cold War. Now, regardless of what game you're playing, whether it be Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 4 with PhD slider, this perk never disappoints. In Black Ops 1, PhD gave you the ability to dolphin dive off of a high area, not taking any fall damage, and you also leave a huge explosion in your wake. Not only that, but every version of PhD gives you explosive immunity, which is one of the greatest things that you can have for COD Zombies. So many weapons are now more viable, like the ray gun, RPG, and Mustang and Sally when this perk is activated. In Black Ops 4, to adjust for the removal of the dolphin dive mechanic from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2, you have an explosive slide. If you pair this with time slip, you can actually reduce the cooldown and use it a lot more frequently on many areas in Black Ops 4. PhD on Cold War, however, takes both of these abilities and turns it into a super perk. By just falling off of a high area, you can activate the Black Ops 1 PhD flop effect, and sliding around the map can activate the explosive slide effect from Black Ops 4. What's cool with the slide is that now you can slide a longer distance and you don't have to be on a stairwell to activate the ability. Cold War's version of PhD takes both of its older versions from previous games, those being Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 4, and just combines them, making the best version of PhD that we've ever seen. Moving into our number 4 spot, we have Widow's Wine from Black Ops 3. Now, this perk came out of nowhere during the launch of this game, and it fit in perfectly. With the increased attack speed of the zombies in Black Ops 3, there needed to be a perk that could somehow slow them down, and Widow's Wine does that job very well. You also have the added bonus of an increase in melee attack damage and the Semitex Widow's Wine grenades that you can throw. This made the perk really versatile for both early rounds and in the later rounds. The only complaint that I ever had with this perk was the fact that you couldn't control when the grenades went off. When doing an Easter egg, if you're that one guy who has to train the zombie while the rest of your friends do the steps, it sucks because you have to throw all the grenades away, which just feels like a waste. Furthermore, if you're training on the map and one of your grenades goes off when you don't want it to, now you have zombies spread all over the map and you don't know when they're going to escape the webs and return to full speed. This perk still has a lot of good qualities when it comes to camping for high rounds. I'd actually prefer to buy this perk first if I'm playing on a map where I know I'm going to be camping. Overall, when it comes to Widow's Wine, it's the best perk that could have been released for Black Ops 3 during the time. With the increased speed in zombie attacks, it was the right move from Treyarch's end to implement this perk. The only reason I can't put it any higher on the list is because of the lack of control that you have over the grenades. Now, moving into our number 3 spot, we have Original Jug. And the fact that this perk isn't coming into our number 1 spot, let alone not even hitting the top 2, just goes to show how many other perks released after Black Ops 3 that are just better. Everyone knows what Jug does. For the most part, on every single game that it's on, it increases the max amount of times that you can get hit by a zombie to 5. In later rounds against the Margwas and the Thrashers in Black Ops 3, you can actually take 2 hits from their max damaging attack instead of 1, which helps out a lot with those stupid downs from those enemies. Cold War also has their version of Jug, but I decided not to put it on this list because the upgrades don't help it out all too much on Cold War's systems. In the later rounds in Cold War Zombies, the zombies deal more damage, and by round 50, regardless of the increase in health that you get from Jug, the zombies are still gonna down you in 2 to 3 hits, and the Megaton will still take you down in 1. The only upgrade that makes Cold War's Jug somewhat viable is that it makes it to where your armor is more durable. But compared to old Jug in the older games, it's just inferior. And although the original Juggernog is well known and iconic, I can't put it at our number 1 spot or even close because there are some better options, and Jug doesn't really do anything special. It just gives you more health. So for that, I'm going to be putting it at our number 3 spot. Moving into our number 2 spot, we have Winter's Wail from Black Ops 4. Now, for those who didn't keep up with the last few updates in Black Ops 4 Zombies, you're probably screaming at the screen right now because during the launch of Black Ops 4, this perk was horrible to say the least. It had the same problems as Widow's Wine, where you had no control as to when you could activate the effect, and there was no increased melee or Semitex grenades, so people just had the impression that Winter's Wail was inferior in almost every single way to Widow's Wine. Not many people know, however, that there was a huge buff given to this perk that made it much better than Widow's Wine in my opinion. They made it to where the ability would only activate once you get hit twice, which actually gave the player some control, which was my biggest complaint when it came to Widow's Wine. Not only did they make it more controllable, but once put on the modifier, this perk becomes incredibly good at defense. It gives you an extra charge, and every time it goes off, it leaves an area of effect around the player, slowing down all the zombies that step into it. With these very simple changes, this perk turned from one of the worst that Black Ops 4 had to offer to one of the best perks of all time. Before we get into our number 1 spot, I wanted to give a quick honorable mention to Cold War Stamina Up. This perk is pretty much just normal stamina, but on steroids. It gives you increased speed, you can use equipment and sprint, move faster while going backwards, move faster while aiming down the sights, and you also take no fall damage. It's like a combination of old stamina up on crack mixed with some of the older aspects of PhD. I couldn't find a spot for it on this list because there are just so many better perks. It is by far the best version of stamina up and a must-have perk for Cold War. The problem is that movement speed alone can't help a player out all too much unless they're doing an Easter egg speedrun, so for that, I'm gonna be putting Cold War Stamina Up as an honorable mention for this list. And coming into our number 1 spot, we have Quick Revive from Cold War. Personally, this is my favorite perk of all time. In Black Ops Cold War, Quick Revive became one of the most useful perks after they added in the Tier 5 upgrades. If you were to put Tier 5 Quick Revive in any other game, it would still be the greatest perk of all time. When Quick Revive made its first debut in World at War, it was considered the worst of the 4 perks. It only revived your teammates faster, which was helpful in co-op, but in solo games, there was no reason to ever buy it. Later, they would add the self-revive mechanic into Black Ops 1 for solo players, which honestly made it one of the best perks in the game during that time. As time went on, Quick Revive didn't really see that many changes until Black Ops 4 came out. Black Ops 4 automatically gave self-revive to solo players, so they had to completely redo the way that the perk worked in-game. They gave it the ability to regenerate your health faster, while still keeping its old attributes of reviving teammates faster as well. Quick Revive in this game was still a greatly appreciated perk because the regeneration speed in zombies was always an annoying downside to the game mode, and it was just solved with this perk for Black Ops 4. When Cold War came around, nobody really thought much of Quick Revive during the launch because there wasn't anything too different with how it functioned compared to Black Ops 4. Then they added in Tier 5 upgrades, and this perk gained the ability of being able to revive the user while they are down as long as they're able to kill a zombie. Being able to buy this perk as many times as you want for a price of 2,000 points grants you a self-revive. This perk functions like the self-medication Gobblegum in Black Ops 3, which was a really good Gobblegum. Overall, when it comes to Quick Revive in Cold War, it's a really good perk, mostly due to its Tier 5 upgrade, but even without, it still is a really solid perk, so for that, we're going to be putting it at our number 1 spot. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of videos. Check down the description as well for more zombie related content. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.